We did it. We got Master 1 with Salamangreat. I'm going to be showcasing to you many of my replays on my way towards getting Master 1 with Salamangreat. And we are even learning the deck on our way towards Master 1, so there's some things I may be commentating on misplays you should be avoiding yourself. Now, without further ado, let's hop into some replays. This is one ranked replay after the rank reset because it showcases what you should do with a Lady Debug and a Gazelle. Now, with just the Lady Debug, it is a very powerful one-card combo, but of course, it's even better if you have a Gazelle. Both you play 3 of, and you have the Signet Mining to help search for Debug. You also play 3 of a Quick Play spell that could also search for Gazelle. Let's start this off. Come forth, Lady Debug on summon, searching our deck for a Cyberse monster. We're going to be searching for Code of Soul. And with a Link monster on the field, the Code of Soul could special summon from the hand. It could also allow us to link with a Link monster as the full material, just like the Salamangreat field spell. So now we could do that twice. We're going to make a Cyberse Wicked. And because we sent a Salamangreat to the graveyard on the summon of the Cyberse Wicked, that's going to trigger Gazelle to summon. And what's really good about this is the 5th summon. Thus, we're playing right into a Nibiru, but we actually play around Nibiru, which I'm going to outline right here. As they both activate, after the Gazelle activates right here, boom, their field would light up if they have a Nibiru, or they could be a really good player that's hiding it. But the reason why they may not want to hide it is because this is actually a pretty good spot to use the Nibiru, I would say, on the resolution, not in response to us activating, because if their field lights up due to Nibiru, I'm going to choose differently what I send to the graveyard with Gazelle. Because if they early Nibiru, it's best that Gazelle sends an extender from the deck instead of the counter trap, which is what I end up doing, because I'm feeling confident that they're not hiding Nibiru and I'm just playing right into it. Now, I have many replays where we play around Nibiru perfectly because their field lights up, and I'm going to showcase to you how you do that in the other replays. But for this one, this is the check, no check, boom, we're good. We're going to play right into Nibiru as if they don't have one. So we're going to send a Salamangreat Roar from the deck to the graveyard. We're going to add Weasel, and then we're going to be summoning a Princess Promethean. The way to play Salamangreat is thinking about what can I do to get 3 bodies on the field. With 3 bodies on the field, you make Promethean Princess, which then becomes your Link 4 into the Raging Phoenix. Then this will be searching for more disruption. So that's all you pretty much have to do. Everything beyond 3 summons to make the Promethean Princess is extra disruption, extra plays, and playing through things like Nibiru. Now, in this scenario right now, we have 2 Salamangreat monsters in the graveyard, and that allows us to special summon the Weasel. But if you're playing around Nibiru, you do hold on to Weasel for the Nibiru activation, and you do as much as you can with the Promethean Princess itself, which it can do a lot. But we're not doing that for this play because I checked for Nibiru. So I know you're getting sick of me. Nibiru. There are actually a lot of replays. I think 2, 3, maybe even 4 replays of Nibiru. So we're going to special summon the Weasel, use the Princess to reborn to level 3, and now we're going to be making a level 6 Synchro. The Horse Prince, that is not Horse on my mind. Horse Prince is a really good priority in this deck to summon because it accomplishes 2 things. It could either summon from the deck a Code of Soul. So if you're not using Lady Debug to search for this, this is the main way to search for it and get it onto the field because it allows us to link up during the opponent's turn to wipe out their entire field. But if you already used Code of Soul, the other monster you want to summon is an Ash Blossom. And for the purpose of this replay, even though it's an actual ranked replay, I pretend like I don't have Ash Blossom and what I would do if I didn't have Ash. So we're going to summon an Ash in the deck, and then we're going to add that Ash on the field back to our hand. So let's link this up, come forth, show Khan into a Raging Phoenix. Now we're going to be setting up with the Salamangreat field spell, even though we Code of Souled. We're going to link this into another Raging Phoenix, which will trigger its effect to search our deck. We also have the Salamangreat Roar, which is going to chain link block a potential held on Ash if they maybe were doing that. And the Roar will now be banished when it leaves the field. So we're not triggering the Weasel yet, which states on the summon of a Salamangreat monster from the extra deck, it will summon a monster from our grave onto the opponent's side of the field. I'm going to summon it to where the wolf is pointing to trigger the wolf. And what's really good about the Weasel, in addition to that, you also draw a card, you trigger the wolf here, and more importantly, the best part is you're triggering a Promethean Princess, and then Promethean Princess will further trigger another effect. Let's wait for that. So Wolf is going to activate to add, non-target add. We're going to pop the Wolf and the Balinks. If you want, you could use Balinks to protect your monster from being destroyed if you did not summon it onto their field or you have another Balinks in your grave. Wipe it out. And then we now have a Link 3 back in the field, and we're going to add back Ash Blossom in the graveyard back to the hand. Very nice. And then we're going to use the Raging Phoenix because a monster we control is destroyed by battle or card effect, reborn from the grave. And just like that, we're going to link them off into a Link 4 Pyro Phoenix. Now, there's a lot of good things about this field. And one of them is on the later game ladder, I've been playing into a lot of people playing Super Poly. So this field does play around Super Poly in a good way, where we only have one fire monster in the field, because what's really important is having your Salamangreat Roar be activatable while you only control a Salamangreat Link. And things like Subversion or Super Poly are good ways to deal with that Salamangreat Link. Now, if they were to somehow deal with our Pyro on the field, we have this other card, which doubles up as being able to reborn from the grave, or it could pop a card in the field if we have a Raging Phoenix in the field with a different attack than its original attack. So you'll see more on that in a bit. So also, in addition to negate with Roar and pop a card in the field plus and or reborn, and we also have Impermanence. We have Ash, which we searched for. Imperm was just drawn. Now from the graveyard, we have Promethean Princess. If they special summon, we'll pop a monster they control, even the one that wasn't special summoned. And the other effect, the most cool effect, is Code of Soul. During the opponent's main phase, we could banish it to link Pyro into Pyro and then wipe out their entire field. Now, our opponent is playing a stun deck, and they do have a way to play around it, but I still want to showcase to you what's good about it. So let's go. They're going to Lightning Storm, forcing off our Salamangreat Roar, protecting our back row, protect the charge, protect the field spell. The field spell is actually really important here. We cannot link off Pyro into another Pyro without the field spell. Now, this is where things get screwy. This is not like a Huggin. A Huggin cannot protect the field from being destroyed by a Pyro because it has to banish itself as protection, and it's being destroyed itself. Now, this states it is different than Huggin. It could also protect itself. So even if you're threatening this card and all other cards, it will protect everything from the Pyro field wipe, which sucks for the demonstration of this video, but anyway, we're gonna showcase it and they're just gonna protect. So we're gonna go into a Pyro Phoenix, wipe up the entire field. The Battle of Gargonda is just fully protecting. Not cool. But then we're just gonna be popping off until they surrender. What's really cool about this spell card is, oh my gosh, this is incredible. You're gonna be recycling the Pyro and the Raging Phoenix back in your extra deck and reborning a banished monster if you want onto the field. So it's any of the three. You target 3 banished cards and or in the grave, return 2, special summon the other, and then with the charge, you could recycle it with your wolf. So what's really cool about the wolf is it has this downside when you summon to where it's pointing to, or your opponent does, it adds a card in the graveyard back to your hand, but then you can't summon it for the rest of the turn. But there's a ruling where if wolf adds an extra deck monster to the extra, you could still summon it. So wolf, summon to where wolf's pointing to, add the other wolf in the graveyard back into the extra deck, and then summon that same wolf over wolf, and then use wolf to recycle your Salamangreat charge, so you could every single turn, your turn and their turn, Pyro Phoenix, wipe up their entire field. That is crazy. And so we're gonna return back, recycle the Pyro, recycle the Raging Phoenix, Code of Souls negated off of the summon of charge. Further linking this up into a Pyro, wipe their field again. The Gongaldo is a once per turn, but they do have a Solemn Strike to actually negate our summon. And that's fine. We're going to cook from here. We're going to Salamangreat to fire, activate to search for Weasel, Weasel special summon. So the Weasel is going to be triggering our Promethean Princess and our Sunlight Wolf here. Wolf add back Wolf, then Wolf could link off over Wolf with another monster since we already used the field spell effect. And then that would be giving us the ability to recycle the charge to wipe up their field again during their next turn. We got the Promethean is now here, trigger the Raging Phoenix. We could link off Raging Phoenix into another Raging Phoenix, but another body. It will be the Promethean Princess plus the Raging Phoenix would be the play. And then that would activate to search for the Will of the Salamangreat, reborn up to 4 monsters from our graveyard. Just wham bam, thank you ma'am, brute force the opponent down until they give up. So very good. This is with the rank 3 set, and I'm gonna show you the Master 2 replays from here. So let's go on over to this replay. As you can see, all these replays are within 1 day. Yup, here. This is something else. So let's go on down here, all Master 2 plus of going towards Master 1. Let's go. And I do greatly appreciate a lot of you have been watching my 1-hour playtest videos and giving incredible feedback, a lot of positive feedback, overwhelmingly positive. So I do plan on doing more of that. The next 1-hour playtest, I am planning to do an Unchained one. So this was Memento 1-hour playtest. I did a Runic Bestial one. And then after Unchained, I don't know what else to do. Do I do a 1-hour playtest in addition to this replay review of Salamangreat? Possibly. Let's go. Now, because this was early into our grind and myself learning the deck, I don't know if I optimally play this. Lady Debug should be searching for Code of Soul here. Oh, we do. Okay, cool. Nice. I know what I'm doing. Then we're going to go into a Salamangreat Balinks. Sure. Okay, everything's good so far. If I'm making a mistake, I'm going to let you know. Code of Soul Special Summon. Perfect. Activate. Now make a Wicked. Trigger the Gazelle. Damn, I'm proud of myself. This is good. Gazelle, trigger, come forth and summon. And I'm going to be seeing if I check for a Nibiru. If I don't send the trap, then I must be revealed to me that they have a Nibiru. So we sent the trap. All right, everything is perfect. Now, what I probably don't do is recycle an Ash Blossom, but if I do end up doing that, I'll be really impressed. Let's speed this up since you already saw most of this. Promethean Reborn, further linking this up. I did not. I didn't use the, so I held on to Weasel in case they would Nibiru. Maybe they did Nibiru this replay, actually. Let's find out. So the Roar's gonna trigger, the Raging Phoenix is gonna get searching. Why did I hold on to Weasel instead of making the Horse Prince? That is the big question here. We are playing Salamangreat of Rage here, which I'll talk about the differences between, there you go, perfect. So they, in fact, showcased to me that they had a Nibiru, and we get to play through it with Weasel. So that's good. But DK, you said you wouldn't send the counter if you felt like there was a Nibiru. Well, I had Salamangreat a Circle. And if they wait to Nibiru after Promethean, I don't even need the extension we would send from the deck to the grave. So I ended up not needing the Circle, but it was backup in case they early Nibiru'd. And now let's see what happens. All right. Let's go, let's go. Weasel Special Summon. If we have two Salamangreats in the graveyard, we're going to link this off into a Balinks. That will trigger the Promethean Princess, or I should say the Weasel, then the Promethean Princess. We get a free draw. Promethean get popping, we'll take out the Nibiru, so you don't have to pop the monster we summon onto their field. And then Raging Phoenix will be triggering, reborning itself from the grave. Oh, what a great replay. I cannot believe this. This is incredible. We have a Pyro Phoenix. We have the ability to field wipe their entire field. We could negate anything. We have Promethean Princess, which could, again, special summon in response to them special summoning. And the Rage at the moment is only gonna be able to pop one card in the field, but if we Pyro into a Pyro through the effect of Code of Soul, it then has the ability to pop 4 cards on the field non-targeting. That is crazy. They're just gonna surrender. Play right through Nibiru. So do check for their field lighting up, which, you know, maybe you could see that in the 1 hour playtest. You're not gonna really see it in the replays. Just believe me, the field lights up on the Wicked Gazelle play, then just hold on to your Weasel. Hold the Weasel. Let's keep on going. So maybe these are all just really good replays and I did know what I was doing. Very nice, very nice. And that's the thing with the 1 hour playtest. It essentially, when I make those videos, it's probably the last time I end up playing the deck, then I move on to something else. So let me know what other deck you would like for me to master and play with. All right, we're gonna start this off with a Circle. We're gonna be just checking for an Ash. No Ash Blossom, that's fine, okay. The Salamangreat of Fire is a better opener than just summoning our Gazelle here. We're gonna grab the Weasel, straight into the Weasel. And then I want to think about summoning Horse Prince. Horse Prince is the goal. So Gazelle get triggered, come forth and summon. Now, the big problem of opening up with the Salamangreat of Fire is we can only summon fire monsters only. So we can't summon Wicked. Wicked search for Weasel's not a play, so that's why you either search for the Weasel with your Salamangreat of Fire, or you are going to be summoning it from the deck with your Mirage Stalio, that is your rank 3 Xyz, or you're gonna use Wicked to search for the Weasel. Those are the 3 different ways to gain access to your Weasel, the main ones. Maxi, we of course have Ash Blossom for that easy negate. Get the hail out of here, mates. Trigger, come forth and summon the Gazelle. Let's speed this up a bit, send from the deck. The counter traps, we could recycle it. We have the Spinny, reborn the Spinny. Let's make the rank 3 Xyz. We unfortunately can't summon a Code of Soul off of this. We're gonna go into a Jack Jaguar, into a Sunlight Wolf. We're gonna link up to where it's pointing to so we could add back a card in the graveyard like the Gazelle or our Ash Blossom even. That's much better. Wait, I actually returned back the Balinks. So I think I over Balinksed in this replay and I was only playing 2 Balinkses potentially. And I was fearing that I would need the other Balinks in order to trigger the Weasel if they were to Nibiru me. So again, it looks like I'm playing around Nibiru. I think so. Reborn Balinks? Yeah, I'm playing around Nibiru again. How am I back-to-back getting Nibiru? This is wild. So this time, this dude actually Nibiru'd before I even was able to trigger the Raging Phoenix's search. Does that screw us up? Was this the ideal Nibiru? No, it was not. So get ready. Because of that Balinks we returned back, and some of you may be thinking, what the heck, you're only playing 2 Balinks? Yes, I'll show you my extra deck and I'll give reasoning. It's to make room for Little Knight and Zelantis, which are incredible cards. I use both of them immensely. And we have the Jack Jaguar now returning back the Balinks, come forth and summon, Shokan into, and is that actually my 3rd Balinks here? Or no, those are my 2, right? Yeah. So this extra deck, I believe I am playing with just 2. Yes, I am playing 2. And then we're going to be triggering the Promethean, Reborn, the Raging Phoenix, which was destroyed early, is now reborning from the graveyard because we destroyed. We also got a free draw. And now we're going to be linking off that Raging Phoenix into another Raging Phoenix. But first, we're going to make a Sunlight Wolf. And then we're going to Raging into the Raging. And then that's going to trigger, search our deck for, I believe I was playing the Salamangreat Rage and not the Charge. And after playing with both, I do like the Charge more. But the Rage is a lot more destructive. And look at these mad lads. They don't win off Nibiru, they scoop. This dude had Ash, right? Did he Ash me, I think? He had Nibiru at least. Let's freaking go. So the deck does not lose to Nibiru if you hold the Weasel. You have to feel out their Nibiru delay. And now you know if you're an opposing player with Nibiru, you have to hide Nibiru on them activating Gazelle. And then if they send the counter trap, meaning they don't have an extension, you should then Nibiru them right then and there. But then you still potentially lose them having a Weasel plus another card. Because if they just have Weasel and you Nibiru early, the Weasel's not enough. All right, we Lady Debug. We already have Code of Soul, so like this is a lot of gas in one hand. We're gonna Shokan this up into a Balings. Hopefully we can make it to the opponent's turn where they actually make some plays. Code of Soul special, we're under max C. No, we're not. Call by the Grave, Finger the Sea, ain't no way. And come forth, we're going to be activating Link off into the Wicked. The Wicked is a high priority to gain access to your Weasel. This is a +1 play. We're going to be sending from the deck the Roar, add the Weasel for the Link this up into a Promethean Princess. Princess, Reborn the Gazelle. I can't believe it's another Nibiru replay. I told you there was a lot of them. I'm shocked that there's this much Nibiru. I really did not expect this many mad lads to be doing it, but they are. We have Effect Veiler and Nibiru, it looks like. So sending the Roar from the deck, meaning we can't search it, and if we get Negate on the search, they held the Negate all the way for the Raging Phoenix. And then I think we also get Nibiru'd. Spinny, let's see. A boost, okay, he does not have Nibiru. So I thought, okay, this is what I did here actually, this is very smart. The Veiler was making me think they had potentially Nibiru. But once the Veiler was gone, I checked for a delay by activating Spinny. So once I activated Spinny and their field did not light up, indicating to me that they don't have a Nibiru, or they could be hiding it, but I felt confident that their field is no longer hiding, and that the lighting up, that is, and the Effect Veiler, it was the card that was triggering the delay. So no delays, no field light up. Yes, this is kind of cheating, but it's legal cheating. It's, perfectly allowed. We're using in-game mechanics. Their field lights up or it doesn't. You can't fake light up your field, by the way. And a lot of people argue that you should be able to. I don't think you should, because I think it would just slow down the game overall and then be optimal to create fake delays. And in the TCG, they say you're not even allowed to bluff anyway, even though that was a thing we did back in the day. So whatever to that. We're going to Reborn our Promethean Princess, Raging being triggered off of the Destruction, come forth and Reborn. We don't care about Veiler, we don't care about Nibiru, but, for this instance, we actually would care about Nibiru, but I'm confident they don't have it. And hopefully they don't surrender, because I would like to showcase some actual plays on their turn, yes? Link this off into another Wolf. We could recycle another card if we wanted to. We do not have anything to recycle. And let's get to it. Purely. Okay, easy Effect Veiler. Even though I would like to, for the highlight, showcase just the Salamangreat cards, I do have to play optimally. Veiler on a Lily is just too good to pass up. It negates both of its effects. Now, they could summon another Lily, though. They're going to summon a Purely, reveal. I'm going to use Promethean Princess to wipe out the Purely, leaving up the negated Lily, which we could have destroyed if we wanted to. This will then trigger the Raging Phoenix from our graveyard after the resolution of them adding a card off the top of the deck. Gosh. I didn't even get to Pyro Phoenix wipe. It's just like, is it win more or what? Do you even need the Code of Soul field wipe? I feel like barely ever even getting to use it. All right, let's go. Let's go again. Surely in one of these replays, I will be showcasing it. I'm confident. Let's go. But hopefully you're just getting a good understanding of how this deck works. The Promethean, the Disruption Search. We only have a 1-card combo play here, so the optimal card to search for is going to be the Lady Debug. But I search for a Gazelle instead. Okay, so interesting. I'm deciding to make a Gazelle play instead. Maybe because I felt a delay on the activation, possibly. I don't agree with this search, but I do have this saved as a replay for some reason, so let's see what I'm doing. Again, through a lot of these replays, I was learning the deck, and I would much rather be grabbing a Lady Debug here. Now, there is a risk with debug, and the debug risk is if they Veiler your Balinks, which is kind of wild, it actually stops your combo because you need Balinks to search field spell, and then you need Balinks to summon over Balinks to trigger the Gazelle you search for with the Lady Debug. So that is one way where if they Veiler, Imperm, or Ash Blossom the Balink summon and you only have a Gazelle in your hand, it actually ends their turn. Even if they have a Spinny also in the hand, well, the Spinny would actually be sent to the graveyard. That's the fear, though, that if you disrupt the Balinks and they still have a Spinny in the hand, that's what gets messed up. But they do need the Bale to go over Bale to trigger Gazelle. All right, Mirage Stalio, come forth and summon from the deck. And oh my gosh, we got Tearlament Havness. We're gonna chain max Siege to that Mad Lad. I don't think so. Mirage Stalio does not lock you out of summoning cards like SP Little Knight or Wicked, but it states that only fire monsters can activate their effects for the rest of this turn. So summoning a Salamangreat of Fire will then lock us out of being able to summon an SP Little Knight, but the Salamangreat of Fire is good for +1ing here. And what's a good way to +1 if you don't want to summon Salamangreat of Fire and you still want to go into something like SP Little Knight, but you wouldn't be able to activate the effect? It would be something like a Jack Jaguar. That's a +1. It's a body on the field, plus it reborns in the grave, +1. You want to focus on +1s. Fire's a +1 because we have Weasel that can special summon. If we summoned a Spinny from the deck, that's a +1 because when sent to the grave, it could reborn from the grave. Just think about ++1. And that's why you don't want to summon a Weasel from the deck if you could help it. Someone may be thinking, just go straight into Weasel. Weasel's not a +1. We don't +1 an extra body on the field when we have the Weasel on the field instead of being added to the hand to the Salamangreat of Fire. So sometimes the downside is just worth it. Also, the downside of Salamangreat Fire is kind of made up for if the opponent does decide to negate your Balinks with the Ash, the Veiler, the Imperm, and you have a Gazelle in your hand. You're not at risk of being bricked because you could just link off the Salamangreat of Fire itself into the Balinks, and that would trigger the Gazelle from your hand instead of relying on the field spell. But again, Lady Debug is more powerful and leads to a much better end turn play. So come forth, Weasel, and again, what's the priority of the deck? To link 3. We had a link 2 plus another body. If you can make Promethean Princess, you're gonna win. You're very likely gonna win. You're in a very good spot. Promethean Reborn, Gazelle, what the hell? Alrighty, let's get to it. Into now making the Balinks. Balinks search for our field spell quite late into this combo, if I do say so myself. Let's further link it up into, let's get that Raging Search. We already have the Salamangreat Roar, so let's search for another disruption here. Generally, you do search for the Salamangreat Roar if your Gazelle is not able to send it, if you need the extender. So how do you know if you need the extender with Gazelle or not? The question is, can I make a Promethean Princess? If you can't make Promethean Princess, then Gazelle must send an extender. Otherwise, if you can make Promethean Princess, sending the Roar is that really good idea. All right, we're gonna grab a Will of the Salamangreat here. Interesting. Oh, I'm going through the crazy play. So I chose to not trigger the Weasel because it returns back in the deck. I'm instead gonna use the Weasel to make a Horse Prince with the Will of the Salamangreat so that I could summon from the deck a Code of Soul. Wow, very smart. I am very proud of myself for doing this. Horse Prince, summon from the deck, going into the Code of Soul, activate, and now Code of Soul, we can go into a Pyro play. Now, a lot of players go into the Sprite Sprint, into the Meow Mine, but we're not playing that nonsense. Now we're gonna get Pop in, wipe up. A little tip here, Brotherhood of the Fire Fist, if you banish this with your own Zealantis, if you're playing Zealantis, which I think you should, it can't reborn itself back because after you synchro summon this card, level 5 or higher monsters for the rest of the turn cannot be summoned, which doesn't affect you at all besides Zealantis banishing it. So we are going to be reborning the Raging Phoenix. So much special summons, holy moly. What the hell is this? Now, if I wasn't being a mad lad here, I do think it would have been better to get one of the Raging Phoenixes in the graveyard, but I think I couldn't give up how cool this would look. Double Raging Phoenix, Wolf, and a Pyro Phoenix. We have Negate, we have full field wipe, we have the Promethean Princess, which is going to be popping a special summon monster. Let's get to it. And we have to be careful because we are going to be destroying by card effect their Tearlaments likely through the effect of Pyro Phoenix, which will trigger their effect to then get fusion summoning. We're gonna use Salamangreat Roar, Negate, just like that, mate. Now, you may be thinking, why is Heartbeat not triggering here? You destroyed it by card effect. It then gets to target a Tearlament trap in the grave and add to the hand, right? Well, even though it was destroyed by card effect, it does have the effect of you could only use one effect per turn and only once that turn, but I negated the activation, right, but you still use the card. So any card with multiple effects, even if you negate the activation, it still can't use itself again. So very nice. We're going, oh, we are playing against King Sarcophagus. Now, Pyro against King Sark, how does that work? Well, the first line, horse monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects that do not target them. You want to know what does target them and destroy them? Our Promethean Princess. So Promethean could pop the Horus, and the Pyro could wipe out the King Sarcophagus, but we do have to worry about the Havnus being triggered to get Fusion Summoning. Now, against Tearlament, it is ideal to hold your Veiler in Impermanence for Kick Kalos. That is what you want to negate if you're holding onto your hand trap. So setting from the deck, the I'm Seti. I guess I'm using my opportunity right now to Pyro into Pyro, wipe up the King Sark before he's able to summon. So you may be thinking, why didn't I wipe it early? Why did I wait for him to send? Well, they were in a position where if they summoned the I'm Seti, I'd pop it with Promethean. If they instead chose to send another card from the deck to the graveyard, I then would just, you know what, wipe it here right now before any of them get summoned, and then we now have Promethean as a follow-up. All right, we have Havnish triggering, fusing with the hand. They do have an open normal summon, so using the Rhino Heart from the hand is quite desperate. Things like that is a lot of intel you should not take for granted. So you know that they had nothing worthy of fusing with in the graveyard, and using up the Rhino Heart, which is really good for normal summoning. What's going on? Okay, Cal on summon, we're going to Veiler. And by Veilering, you cannot Veiler chain Promethean. You could Promethean chain Veiler, though, because Promethean is a trigger effect, and within the trigger effect window, they have higher priority being activated outside of the quick effect window, which we are in now. So the game would ask us, would you like to Promethean? And it doesn't even has effect Veiler as an option, not even one. So you have to say no, and then we Veiler. Now, it is valid to Promethean and then Veiler. It would get negated, it would not search, it would also be destroyed, but I don't want it destroyed. If destroyed by card effect, it's going to mill 5 cards off the top of the deck. I would much rather destroy it by battle, where it does not trigger. I could also use Ash Blossom if it does end up going to the graveyard, so that is a good option on the mill 5, if they don't have a way to chain link block it, and that's the scoop. Very nice. Very, very nice. Let's keep on going. What is good here? I think we have... Oh, we still have some more replays. We have a few. I think we're on the right replay here, right? I gotta remember the player names as we're going into these. No editing. Raw. Raw replay analysis. Okay. Plays have decided to go second. Yeah, about that. I may be fishing for highlights, choosing to go second on purpose. Okay, you caught me. Thank you for Konami adding that feature. Gonna maxi them in the draw phase. They're gonna Ash, and let's go. And, you know, to be fair, I keep going first, and you probably want to see me going second. So it is true, on my way towards Master 1, I'm purposely throwing games to try to get some highlights of going second. Oh, we still got Master 1. All right, this is going to be Horus Heroes. What the heck? Nope, it is a Prisma. What the hell? Okay, it is now a Vsauce Starfrost. Lightheart, I'm gonna end up negating that. That's gonna be a big fat negate. Imperm, I don't think so, mate. And the reason why I impermed and did not use Ash, because Ash is really good against I'm Seti. Didn't he search for an I'm Seti and he didn't activate it yet? The I'm Seti has to discard a card from the hand and send itself to the graveyard to then get ashed. So that is a huge minus. Very nice, very nice. Hold on to the Ash. And you know, these are good ways to try to bait Ash. I don't think he should have revealed to me that he had an I'm Seti before making these plays. I think that was a potential mistake. The field spell adds, and then, yeah, so the field spell activation was premature. I am going to just straight up Nibiru that field right here, right now, before he makes the Vsauce Amatera to then search his deck for a Vsauce spell or trap. We don't want that. And he's now banishing for Astrolaud, which is completely fine. Okay. On Someone Get Poppin', wiping out that Nibiru. Now, I think for a lot of these replays, I am not playing Zealantis. Zealantis was a late addition. I also I am playing Zealantis in this. That's good to see. I also, for some of them, may have not been playing Little Knight. It's been really difficult for me deciding if I should play 3 Raging and 3 Bale. And I know a lot of people are hard against not playing 3 Bale, but I had to make it work because I love Little Knight and I love Zealantis too much. All right, we just have Circle, nothing else. Circle adding Gazelle or Salamangreat of Fire, both are good options here. We're going to send Spinny. If you don't search for the Salamangreat of Fire, the general play is going to be Mirage Stalio, summon the Salamangreat of Fire. So either way, it's going to be normal summoned or special summoned, but we're locked in a fire only. So I cannot summon Zealantis, nor trigger use the Little Knight either. Can't even summon them. So we're just going off of this. Hida, steal a fire monster from their graveyard. So with our goal being to just get 3 bodies in the field, Hida is a really high priority to think about. So you could just 2-body, summon from their graveyard, then make your Promethean Princess. Always think about Hida. And even if there is no fire in their graveyard, I want you to then think, what if they have a fire monster in the field? Can we destroy it by battle? Can we make a Hida, 1850, swing over it, then main phase 2, steal their monster? That's a good play if you're not going for lethal this turn. We're linking this up because once you get Promethean, you have access to Link 4. That's it, just like that. This is a 2-card Link 4 because Hida into Promethean into the Link 4. Now, remember, a priority is if you could Horse Prince, you Horse Prince. You better Horse Prince. There's no downside to Horse Princing, so you always go for it. We're gonna go into the Code of Soul here, come forth, activate so we could link off with one of our monsters, and we're also making a really late Phalanx. Phalanx is here, activate searching for the Sanctuary, and now let's start going into the big links. Big link number 1, Raging Phoenix. What I like to do if I'm going second is search for the Will of the Salamangreat, because we want to make big plays, right? So, Raging Phoenix is going to be grabbing the Will of the Salamangreat, and we're going to reborn up to 4 monsters from our grave. That is crazy. Do I have 3? Do I have 4? 4 bodies. I'm going into a full 4-link Pyro Phoenix. Ain't no way. And the Weasel's gonna trigger, summon onto their field. We're gonna draw into a Rage, trigger Promethean, pop Raging. Also, we could burn from some damage here. So if we want to give them a bigger Link monster, that could have been better, but we obviously did not need to. They're only at 4,000 life. And then, because we Code of Souled and had the Salamangreat Sanctuary, we could link Pyro with Pyro, and if we didn't, you could use Link 3 Promethean plus your Link 4, which counts as 1 card plus a Link 3 to make another Link 4 into Pyro, then it triggers the effect. Raging Reborn as 5,600 attack. That is crazy. We just used the Code of Soul effect, as you saw there. Activate, wipe the entire field, mate, and we only have 13,000 damage. So it is... You don't even need Zealantis. Zealantis is an option, a funny one. And with the Weasel, you could summon a huge monster on their field, use Zealantis to then banish that big monster on their field, and then guess where it goes? Back to your field, because Zealantis banishes, then resummons back to the original owners. It's no longer theirs. So let's keep on going. All right, we have to remember that's the player we played against, an Ash. Okay, we're gonna play against, we have 4 more replays. So I was definitely really passionate to go on this Master 1 run with Salamangreat. I'm happy to have all these replays for you. Let me know if you like this series idea where maybe it doesn't have to just be for Master 1, where it's just generally a ton of replays, about 10 different replays of the deck. That is great. All right, Lady Debug this up, search on deck for Gazelle. I probably now today, I would Lady Debug, check for a delay. If there's no delay whatsoever, I think I would search for Code of Soul and try to do the, have the Salamangreat Circle, search for the Gazelle instead. But maybe there was a delay. Let's link this up into the Phalanx, because getting Code of Soul is not possible with the Salamangreat Circle, and the Circle could grab Gazelle. But also, this is a valid play of not revealing too much, just fishing out for disruption. And this is where I talked about Bale must link into Bale to trigger Gazelle, but we had Circle as backup in case that they disrupted it. So come forth. So you could say that by summoning the Lady Debug and them not disrupting it, they could have held it for the Baelink search the field spell. And imagine they would have wasted an Ash, a Veiler, or an Imperm on Baelinks, then I follow up Circle and still continue to play anyway. We could add a Mirror, we could add a Spinny, and then we keep on playing off from that if they were to try to stop our entire play. We have Mirage Stalio, because I know I actually would be tempted if the Lady Debug searches for a Gazelle, where maybe I'd want to negate the Bale from searching field spell, because I know that they can get completely bricked if I negate it. It's a possibility. But we also have Will of the Salamangreat for even more follow-ups. We got Salamangreat of Fire, which will search for the Weasel. All the ways to get to Weasel, you definitely want to get to that Weasel, either through the Wicked or the Salamangreat of Fire being the main ways. We're going to further link this up into Promethean Princess. Now, what is our other priority? The Horse Prince. You always want to make Horse Prince if you can. 3+ level 3 tuner and non-tuner. and we're going to be summoning from the deck. It's Code of Soul is here. So even though we didn't search for Code of Soul, we searched for it essentially through the Horse Prince instead. Very well done. Throw the Shokanin this up into a Raging Phoenix. Weasel is going to be reborning. Now, a big question you should be having here is, what if I use Circle? If I used Circle early in this duel, then my Gazelle would have been able to send the counter trap from the deck to the graveyard, thus giving us another disruption. So that's another reason why we should have used the Circle, and then we could have instead searched for a second disruption and used the Salamangreat Roar from the graveyard onto the field. Promethean Princess, get triggering, pop in the Raging as long as we have a Raging in the graveyard. You can use Balinks, but it's kind of wasteful to protect yourself from destruction. For the Shokan this up into a Pyro Phoenix, and we're good. Let's go. Let's keep on going. Oh gosh, so the Amano Wado, it does not activate. It's just a straight up continuous effect. Monsters cannot activate their effects. So immediately shutting down my Veiler, immediately shutting down my Code of Soul, shutting down my ability to go into Pyro Phoenix, shutting down my ability to trigger my Promethean Princess. It's all shut down completely. We pretty much just have the Salamangreat Roar. So we have to use it very carefully. Want to think. Big think, big thunk. Oh gosh, I have to negate this. It is such a risk negating this, because they could just have another one, and that'd be a big problem. So yeah, let's go. Negate, I draw 2 every turn, double normal summon every turn. I just cannot allow that to go through. So if you have another one, then good for you. He does not. He's going to get poppin'. Now, the Balinks does not activate. This says we can't activate monster effects, but that is a continuous effect, essentially. And return 3, return 2, draw 2. This is where I'm afraid that he's going to draw into another Time-Tearing Morganite, but luckily for us, I took the gamble and it paid off. I'm going to grab a Spinny here during the end phase. I'm activating the Circle because it is a hard once per turn, so I want to ensure that I can activate another one during my own turn. And I could just hard go into Pyro, just like that. Pyro on summon, wipe their entire field. Now, I know what some people may be thinking here, and they're thinking incorrectly, and I'll tell you in a second what they're thinking that's wrong. So first we're triggering Gazelle, because a Pyro is sent to the graveyard for a Pyro. We're activating to wipe their entire fields. So where they summon, you would think they should summon a Hugin, right? Hugin would protect the whole field from being destroyed, but that's actually wrong. So if we read Hugin here, Hugin states that if this card, no, the other effect, whereas if another card you control would be destroyed by card effect, you could banish this card you control instead. Now, if you're threatening Hugin for destruction plus the other card at the same time, Hugin cannot banish itself to protect the other card instead, because she's also being destroyed at the same time. That is the ruling. It is 100% what happens. So they are correct in not summoning Hugin, but you now know Pyro plays right through the Hugin. Add back the Roar, wipe out the entire field. The Gary cannot be destroyed by card effects, but if destroyed by battle, we'll pop a card we control. And I think we just speed on through this until they decide to surrender like they should. So let's keep... Get out of here, mate. I do not think so, you stun fool. All right, let's go another one. We have three more. Let's go, and then I'll show you my deck list. And we'll compare it to some deck lists online. A lot of people are heavily anti-Salamangreat of Fire, and Ladybug is better, but Fire is also good to have in the deck to summon off of your Mirage Stalio if you have that play. So you have both. What do? You should summon the Ladybug generally, but again, it could possibly have that risk of the Balinks getting disrupted, and then you may not have a way to trigger your Gazelle, but we do with their Spinny. So it's even more reason to definitely summon the Debug and not the Fire. So even though Ash has been used, they could still have Veil or Imperm for the Balinks if they think they're going to disrupt our Gazelle summon, if I'm searching Gazelle here. So let's speed this up. We have Gazelle, and they could be thinking they can't summon Gazelle if I negate the Veil. But they don't do that, or they don't have the disruption, so that's good. We have Spinny to trigger the Gazelle, but what I'm actually going to do here, I'm not going to trigger Gazelle off of the Spinny. This is my mindset of summoning Wicked, and it should be yours also. The Wicked summon should be triggering your Gazelle, ideally, so that it plays around Nibiru in the best way. So let's link this up, Wicked and Gazelle, and then we're now playing through Nibiru. We're going to see if their field lights up in game, and if it didn't, we're clear to send whatever we want. And we're also grabbing our Weasel, which is summonable as long as we have 2 Salamangreats in the grave. Nicely done. Come to me, Weasel. And then here's another downside of the Salamangreat to fire. It's redundant. It's stuck in our hand. Through our normal plays, we don't have a way to discard it to then reborn it with the Promethean Princess. So if our normal plays included discarding the Salamangreat to fire, that would be a good option. Now, if you play Foxy, Foxy could be summoned from the deck through something like Mirage Stalio, and then Mirage Stalio sent to the grave. I should say the Foxy being sent to the grave. I should just show you the Foxy right here. Let's do the related cards. The Foxy would then be able to discard your Salamangreat to fire to reborn. So that would actually be a good way to discard, but I'm not playing Foxy. Summon from the deck our Code of Soul. That is our main way. Horse Prince and a Code of Soul. Let's speed this up. Further linking this up in the Raging Phoenix. On summon, we're going to trigger the Weasel, also trigger Search, also trigger the Salamangreat Aurora to negate anything. Now, this is where I'm playing with the Salamangreat Charge. Very happy to be having that. Pop both cards, come forth and summon, trigger, reborn from the graveyard. Further link this up into the Pyro Phoenix. Now, this plays into Super Poly in a really bad way. But the charge is a follow-up to the Super Poly, which could turn back on our Salamangreat Roar, where it's not that big of a deal. If this were to be a Salamangreat Rage instead and we get Super Poly'd, we're done, because we can't trigger Promethean, we can't use the Code of Soul, we can't use the Salamangreat Roar. So this is why you definitely want to consider playing Charge instead, or play it in addition. And then this also has the extra benefit of recycling your banished or in-grave fire monsters. Think about this. How often does your Promethean Princess potentially get banished? Well, the Salamangreat Charge can return your Promethean Princess back in the extra deck or summon it onto the field. That is crazy. And then, of course, it has the additional effect of, with our Raging Phoenix with a different attack than its original, it's going to be able to pop a card in the field. So it's pop anything or recycle plus special summon to play around a Super Poly or a Lava Golem or some nonsense. Let's go. All right, what do they have? Pot of P, banishing 6 cards. I'm just going to ash that. I assume Pot of P is essentially picking up your entire deck and adding anything to your hand. So I think, no. I was joking. I wanted to make this duel more fair. So even though I fingered their Ash, I definitely wanted to boost the morale of my opponent, because what happens is if I didn't use Ash, they're likely to surrender, and we don't want them to surrender. So I tossed Ash just to give them that one. That's exactly what happened. There you go. It's essentially BM, but they don't know. They don't know. And now because of that, we're going to be able to play out all of our disruptions. Isn't that crazy? Yes. So it is Memento, which we just did a 1-hour playtest on. So unfortunately for them, we know the deck quite well. So we're going to trigger the Promethean Princess, come forth and reborn. You may be thinking, what the heck? Your charge is no longer activatable to pop a card in the field. Yes, it is. Raging will then trigger off of Raging, be destroyed. It's back on the field. It's ready to get wiping. Now the Dark Blade on summon is discarding to pop a back row. If they have a Bone Party, it's really good to chain the Bone Party to the Dark Blade getting disrupted in any way whatsoever. But this being a counter trap, spell speed 3, it's too fast. They can't chain Bone Party to pop it. So this is just a good opportunity to get it off the field, even though it's not activating the effect to summon from the deck. All right, I take it, wipe it out. And it's also good to be counting the cards in their hand and what they have in the graveyard. They have 1, 2, 3 monsters with different names, plus a 4th monster and a 5th monster potentially. We know that the combined creation is not summonable. They don't have enough bodies to summon it. And he's activating the Memento Fusion. This on summon will activate to pop a card in the hand or on the field, and it's non-targeting. And I'm going to just imperm negate. So not giving them the ability to search for 2 Memento monsters from their deck is what I want to stop them from doing. Got him. Alrighty. And they had to return 2 Mementos in the graveyard back in the deck in order to even activate that, so they're even less likely to do their thing. Now, Memento Fusion is popping to search, and if this gets popped, it activates a Reborn from the graveyard. If I want, I could pop it instead. Then you don't get to search for a card like the Field Spell. You don't get to search for a Bone Party. So I'm actually going to take them up on that opportunity, wiping out their monsters so they don't get the search, stopping the search. But they do trigger the other effect here to reborn the Anguish. Now the Anguish is going to be triggering to add from the deck a Mace. Mace will do nothing. They already used up their normal summon, so they can't get that on the field. And they're just going to scoop. And I didn't even get to use my Pyro Phoenix, unfortunately, which could have then wiped up their entire field, right? I don't think I used it. All right, let's keep on going. We have 2 more replays, 2 more. Oh my gosh, this is essentially a 1-hour playtest, but with just replays. I didn't know the video was this long. Well, let me know if you like this many replays in one video. All right. I am going first, so we're not trolling here where I'm trying to force myself to go second. And let's speed this up since you're quite familiar with the deck now. Imperm, which is not fingerable. That's okay. Now, when should you actually use a card like Impermanence against Salamangreat? There's a lot of merit to just literally waiting for their Salamangreat raging. It's the lowest risk with the guaranteed payout of they likely don't search for a counter trap. If they don't send it from the deck to the grave with the Gazelle, they're not going to be searching for a Will of the Salamangreat or a Salamangreat Rage or another. You're basically knocking off a disruption if you wait for this. But the high risk, high reward is if you imperm early, then maybe you shut down their entire turn. But if you don't shut down their entire turn, your imperm is likely for absolutely nothing. You now benefit not one bit from it because we're going to make full play. The mirror, if you already have in the hand, it has the effect to discard a Salamangreat to special summon. And now we're going to come forth and summon our Wicked, trigger the Gazelle, come forth and summon. Wicked is going to be banished from the graveyard. Gazelle is going to be sending from the deck the Salamangreat's Roar. And we're going to be making our Balinks here. So they could Nibiru if they want. They're not Nibiruing, and we could hold on to the Weasel if we are fearing a Nibiru or feeling it out. Another Impermanence. So I must have been feeling that I think they have Nibiru because another card's activatable after our 5th summon. But if the Imperm was activatable before our 5th summon, then I would know it's not Nibiru. And that's how you decide if they potentially have Nibiru. So played through the other disruption. They then thought that negating the Promethean was a good idea. But transparently, it's public knowledge. I have a Weasel in my hand and it's summonable. So again, your disruption sucks. This is not good. You wasted both of your impermanences and I still don't care. It's not surprise Weasel, it's publicly I have a Spinny, publicly I have a Weasel, and I'm pretty much doing my full combo. Like literally not skipping a beat. Full combo. Negating Horse Prince could potentially be a good idea also. So if you negate Horse Prince, I don't gain access to the ability to use the Pyro Phoenix to wipe out the entire field. If I have a Code of Soul already in my hand, I probably would have summoned it already. So I would say this is a good idea to potentially negate if you don't want to get wiped out. But we're doing full combo, full wombo. Let's go. We're linking this up. Raging Phoenix, search our deck. It's like, really? You impermed me twice? I don't feel it. Does not look like it. Didn't even need my Call by the Grave. We have the double disruption through the charge and the roar. We have Promethean, and then we're now setting up our Pyro. So this was a really good replay playing through double impermanence and full field wipe. Oh my gosh, like this is impossible to play through. Field wipe, pop a card on special summon, negate, pop a card on the field. Let's go. The only correct thing this player did was surrender. There you go. Both imperms were bad. So let's hop into, I mean, the second imperm was just so blatantly wrong. You know. There was not, oh, wow, they randomly had extension. He knew exactly what I had. They just don't know how my deck works. Okay, so this duel is actually a duel puzzle for you. What do you do with this hand? I'm not going to draw another Salamangreat. So that's kind of an issue, yes? Let's see what happens. And let's see if you could figure this out. So Lifter, get searching, holding the Ash Blossom for the emergency. That is the correct play. Negate emergency. Do not negate Lifter searching for emergency. That's really bad. All right, end of turn. Let's pause. All right, what do you do with this hand? In their graveyard, they have no fire monsters, so we can't make a Hida. I don't have anything really good in my graveyard. I have nothing else banished. I just have a Code of Soul and a charge, a cross out, and a call by. So if I had plays, cross out and called by are really good. So we're kind of screwed, right? So 3, 2, 1, you can pause the video, figure it out if you want. Otherwise, let's do the play. Code of Soul, activating does not matter. We're gonna link it off into a Balinks, okay. Balinks search the field spell. Now, very important here, we have to link Bale into Bale. Why? Well, now, and only now, do we have 3 fire monsters in the graveyard. We have Ash, Code of Soul, and Balinks. Setting this was incorrect. I don't know what I was doing there. Maybe I misclicked, but Charge is now going to be targeting the 3 fire, returning 2 back into the deck, and then summoning the other. Of course, you want to keep the Code of Soul, but still, This is not good. What I told you, the main priority of the deck is to make a Promethean Princess. And if you're paying attention, I gave you an idea on how you would deal with this current field. So that it's not possible to make Promethean right now with this field. This is only 2 bodies. Well, let's make Hida. Okay, but there's nothing in their graveyard. Let's put something in their grave. Oh my gosh, you got Nibiru. Cross out Designate. We play 1 Nibiru, so that's an easy negate. Gotcha, mate. And again, I guess you don't have the answer yet of what we do, but it should be obvious at this point. We are going to put a fire in the grave, take out their airlifter, reborn their airlifter, and now we have pretty close to what's considered full combo, getting a Promethean Disruption into a Raging Phoenix Disruption. This is incredible. Oh my gosh. Let's freaking go. Raging Phoenix into Raging Phoenix. Search our deck for a Salamangreat Roar. We have a negate. We have Promethean Princess Mate. They used up their Nibiru, which, okay, they still have it in their hand. We did negate it with the Crossout Designate. Let's see what's good. We have Preventer. So you could argue that it would have been good to preemptively banish the Airlifter, and I would say your argument is trash because the Preventer could banish the Emergency instead. And now you could instead say it's to stop a Turbulence. I would say still not a good idea. Just wait with the called by and it may be good. The dude's swinging in and I do have a Balinx. So if I want to, I could just protect this from destruction because his idea is, hey, you dual puzzled me with the Hida. I'm going to do the same thing to you, but they're not as smart. We have the Salamangreat Roar, which is now turned off because we no longer have a Link monster on the field, but Raging Phoenix will solve that issue themselves very easily within the damage step, reborn from the graveyard as if this didn't even happen. So the Roar is still ready to negate whenever we want mate. All right, Lifter gets searching. I'm not going to negate that with the Roar. I don't think so. Emergency, come forth and summon. Because I have a Call by the Grave, I'm just gonna hold, I'm gonna allow it to happen. I'm gonna focus on them hard once returning their Hydrant or some other card effects that I want to be negating like the Turbulence before we pop off. So I'm going to use Promethean to wipe it out. Let's go. This is a good opportunity. Fingering my Promethean Princess. Ain't no way. So I am just going to straight up negate that because Promethean being banished in the game is not a good idea for us. But again, we could recycle the Salamangreat charge to get Promethean back into the game if it were to actually get fingered. So I know it happens a lot. She gets fingered all the time. So Salamangreat charge is that great way to get her back in play. Now, what's also great about this is they're going to be setting up with Diablo Star. What does this mean? What is Diablo Star's main goal? The main goal is to get a Hydrant on the field, but I have a finger for the Hydrant in the grave, so the one on the field will be negated and they're checkmated. Like, what? That's not original Sinful? What's going on? Did they screw up? They have original Sinful already in the hand. So it should have been original if they did not have it in the hand. And we're going to wait for the activation, and just like that, finger the Hydrant, GG no re, from a duel where we just had a Code of Soul and a Salamangreat charge. Now, if that Salamangreat charge was a Salamangreat Rage, that's another reason why charge, I believe, is better. It's better for going second, and it's better if some weird shenanigans happen from your opponent, like Super Poly, or if they finger your Promethean, and also just the grind game with the charge, continually recycling with the Salamangreat Wolf. Wolf could add back another wolf from the graveyard, and it's still summonable that turn if you need to reincarnate, link it off the field. Now let's finally get to the deck review. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed that. This is with the rank reset after we got Master 1. So let's get to the deck list. All the replays besides 1 was Master 2+. And here is the deck I'm playing. Some points of contention here are, I would say a lot of people will disagree with how many spinnies I'm playing. They may say I'm playing too many Salamangreat of Fire, and they'll say I'm not playing enough Balinx. Now, let's bring up the deck type breakdown for Salamangreat, and let's see how everyone else is playing it. So let's type in Salamangreat, and there you got some combos here, an anti-Nibiru play, so this is really good for learning the Weasel nonsense. Let's also bring this up in a better view. How about that? Let's bring it up here. Yes. So looking at this, I do like Spinny because it is so damn versatile. I am liking it at 3. Now, 40% are playing at 3, so it's not as controversial as I led you to believe. I do love Code of Soul. Some people are not playing it. It's not needed, but wiping the field with Pyro is too much fun. It's too cool, and it's viable enough where I should definitely include it in play. Now, Also, another point of contention, as you can see, the Balinks at 3, they're not playing Zealantis, and Zealantis does get turned off from being usable if you either Salamangreat a Fire or Mirage Stalio. But if you go the Wicked line, if you go Wicked into Horse Prince, you could full Zealantis. And in order to lethal with Zealantis, it's very easily done. I love this card so damn much. All you have to do is be able to make a Link 4 and have one other body on the field. Any fire monster. That will put the Zealantis over the Link 4 like a Raging. Zealantis will banish the entire field, and then it has that synergy with Weasel, where if you give them a monster through your Weasel, the monster you Weaseled onto their field is now back on your own field. So that is another great way where even if you don't have that other fire, you could instead just go straight into, you could use the Raging Phoenix to summon a Weasel on their field, and then you could Zealantis banish that Weaseled monster, then it comes back to your field, triggering your Promethean to pop your monster that you Weaseled, or you have that additional monster, which then triggers Raging to Reborn from the graveyard, so 28 plus 25 plus 27, that's over 8,000 damage, and the Raging will also be boosted by the monster you destroy with your Promethean Princess, and the Zealantis has the ability, being co-linked with the Promethean Princess, to pop 2 cards in the field. So even though it wasn't within my replays of showcasing Zealantis, which I wish I did have at least one replay for it to further convince you on this, otherwise, you don't have to play this if you're not comfortable with it. I think you have to become really comfortable with the deck in order to play just 2 Balinks. So otherwise, you probably should start off with 3 Balinks. And if you notice that you're being good enough with your Balinkses where you're not continually using up all 3 and you're optimally playing them, then you could consider taking out the second copy, but it is risky. It is really good. And also, the Little Knight. Some fields are not breakable without using the Little Knight. And again, Little Knight's not activatable if you Mirage. Little Knight's not summonable if you activate Salamangreat of Fire. There are plays where if you can get 5 bodies in the field, you could essentially set up your main combo, and if as long as you did not use Salamangreat of Fire, you could set up Pyro, and alongside Pyro, end on a Little Knight, even if you Mirage Stalio'd. It's not activatable the turn it's summoned, but during the opponent's turn, you then have that Banish Protection or Chain Banish in response to their monster effect, in addition to this helping you break field. So again, unfortunately, not in my replays because Little Knight and Zealantis were late additions to my deck. I think the more new player friendly version of playing this is triple Raging Phoenix and triple Balinks if you're not so good with your resources. And even just having triple Raging feels good. If you're playing against a Unicorn banishing from your extra deck, that could be a messy situation. But I like the extra versatility and the challenge of playing with the Little Knight and the Zealantis instead. Now, for why am I playing 2 Salamangreat of Fire? Well, sometimes I would draw this and I wouldn't want to summon it. Well, I would have a Mirage Stalio line where it's ideal to summon it from the deck, where essentially now it's a Garnet. Garnet is a card that needs to be in the deck for your combo, and that's what it would be if I open up a Salamangreat Fire and a Lady Debug. I want to summon Debug over the Fire because it's more powerful, but now I have a stupid Fire stuck in my hand, and I don't have one from the deck to summon during my main combo if I want to go into Mirage Stalio potentially. But again, sometimes you don't even go into Mirage Stalio. Mirage Stalio competes with the Wicked. So you either Wicked, I do think it's a better priority to go into Wicked, especially in my version, so you could still have the Little Knight and the Zealantis be activatable, and then you search for your Weasel that way. And other than that, I think I've already given a lot of reasoning for why I'm playing Charge, but in case you skipped on over to the deck profile, what's really good with the Salamangreat Wolf is the card you add back from the graveyard can't be summoned. But if you add back an extra deck monster like Wolf, add back a Wolf into the extra deck, that Wolf could still be summoned. And then if you summon Wolf over Wolf, Wolf could now recycle your Salamangreat Charge, which could further recycle your Raging Phoenix, which I play too. So putting the second copy back in the extra deck, putting the second copy of Pyro back in the extra deck, that's great. And then you could have situations where you're using Will of the Salamangreat or Promethean Princess to continually reborn a Pyro from the graveyard, and then using the second Pyro from your extra deck that you keep on recycling with either a Wolf or with the Salamangreat Charge to keep on wiping out their entire field. And then the Charge also recycles your one and done Code of Soul. This gets banished, it's gone forever. And then you're not gonna be able to wipe out their field again. So in the grind game, being able to recycle this by resummoning it back in the field, getting it back in the graveyard, and also recycling the Pyro It's way too much fun. And there was a really good duel against Snake Eye. For some reason, I didn't save it. I think it went to like 8 turns. I think it was because I was learning the deck and I made a lot of misplays, so I didn't want to show that to you. But I was grinding Snake Eyes like crazy, and to the point where I was using the effect of the Pyro Phoenix to burn them to death. I was summoning their monster from the graveyard like a Promethean Princess, so it wouldn't trigger from the graveyard. That's another play. Target their Promethean Princess, reborn it. They're now locked in a fire. They now cannot Nibiru you. They now can't trigger Promethean, and you burn them for 500 damage, 2,700 damage. Because when they summon a Link monster, you get burning. And you could trigger this effect through its own effect. The wrong one I clicked on. You could trigger the Pyro effect through summoning their own Link, or you could give them a Link from your own graveyard through the effect of the Weasel. So Weasel could summon something like a Raging on their field and then burn them for 28 plus trigger your Promethean Princess to wipe it off their field. So there is a lot more fun to be had with this deck and a lot more to show you, to the point where I'm going to ask you, would you like a 1-hour playtest with this deck, even though I showed you replays of getting Master 1? So you let me know, and that's maybe something in the future I'll be working on. Otherwise, I'll work on another 1-hour playtest. Unchained is my next 1-hour playtest that I will be uploading, or I think it actually is already uploaded by the time I end up uploading this video. I'm not sure what we're doing, but beyond that, I appreciate you all very much. Thank you for watching. If you want to learn more about Salamangreat, not only is the website ideal for doing so, for keeping up to date with the deck stats and the best Salamangreat lists, and I'm also showcasing, you know, what's using Horse Prince and Code of Soul and all that good stuff. Going to the Discord is good. So down here, you can click on Top Player Community, go to the Discord, and in the Salamangreat channel, look at that. Oh my gosh, over 100,000 members, 27K online. This is insane. Go to the Salamangreat channel, read the pinned messages, and also ask some questions if you need to. And you also don't have to hesitate with potentially adding me in the Discord. And as an extra bonus to this video that's already long enough, I'm gonna check out TCG and OCG real quick. So what's interesting here is the TCG likes playing Salamangreat Rage, Charge that is. But the OCG, they play Rage instead. So that's quite contentious. And also the OCG likes playing Kaiser Coliseum because it's banned in the TCG. So if you want to be cheesy, this is actually something you should consider playing, because generally on your ending turn, you could end on just a single Pyro Phoenix or a single Raging Phoenix plus your Kaiser Coliseum, and then they are in big trouble. So that's a fun way to get easy wins. I think some of them are also playing cards like Rivalry of the Warlords. If it's not in the main deck, maybe it is. There you go. That's in the side deck right there. And there you go. So check out the ratios of the OCG, check out the ratios of the TCG, and then compare it with Master Duel, and then play your way. That's all I have for you today. Thank you very much. We are out.